Your kids have been working so very hard the past 2 weeks on this. So welcome to Spotty the Turtle Wins the Race, and enjoy the show. Yay. Okay. Pre-game eyes on me. All the little animals who live in the green meadow and in the smiling pond were having a holiday. Old Mother West Wind had been very busy spreading the word about a race that was about to occur. You see, Peter Rabbit had been boasting of how fast he can run.
I can run the fastest. I can run the fastest.
Reddy Fox was quite sure he could run faster than Peter Rabbit.
I can run the fastest. I can run the fastest.
And then there was Billy Mink. Billy was quite sure he was the fastest in the
I
forest.
could run the fastest. I could run the fastest.
They all met one day beside the Smiling Pond and agreed that old Grandfather Frog should decide who was the fastest. He was considered the oldest and wisest animal in all the forest. Old Grandfather Frog sat on his green lily pad while Peter Rabbit, Billy Mink, Reddy Fox each took turns telling him why they were the fastest animal in the forest. When they had finished, old Grandfather Frog said,
The best way to decide who is the fastest is to have a race.
So it was agreed that Peter Rabbit, Reddy Fox, and Billy the Mink would have a race to see who was the fastest animal in the forest. Whoever brought a nut back from the big hickory tree down by the pond would win the race. All of the animals in the forest were there to see the race, including
Spotty the Turtle.
Spotty the Turtle is a very slow walker, and he cannot run at all. When Peter Rabbit saw Spotty headed his way, he said,
Spotty, race with us.
Everyone laughed because you know Spotty is so very, very slow. Spotty Turtle didn't think it was funny. He said,
Keep laughing, Peter Rabbit. I'm going to enter this race.
So they all stood in a row. Peter Rabbit, Billy Mink, Reddy Fox, and Spotty the Turtle. Grandfather Frog said,
On your mark, get ready, get set, go.
And away went Peter Rabbit with great big jumps. After that was Billy Mink, who ran so fast, he was just a little black streak. And side by side, next to him ran Reddy Fox. Now just as they started, Spotty the Turtle reached up and grabbed Reddy Fox's big tail. Reddy was running so fast and was so focused on the race, he didn't even realize Spotty was hanging onto his tail. Just at the foot of the hill where the hickory tree grew was a little pond. Billy Mink remembered this pond and laughed to himself and said,
I know Reddy Fox and Peter Rabbit don't like to swim. Maybe I could take a rest.
So Billy Mink took a rest. Now Mr. Sun, round and red, beat down on the animals, and the day began getting hotter and hotter. Peter Rabbit had a thick gray coat, and Reddy Fox had a thick red coat, and they both began to get very, very warm. Peter Rabbit and Reddy Fox say together,
Now that Billy Mink is behind us, we have time to take a rest.
So they stopped to take a rest by the pond. The animals were so tired, they didn't hear a small splash into the pond. That was Spotty the turtle, who had let go of Reddy Fox's tail and was now swimming across the pond. He swam mostly under the water. No one saw him climb up the bank to the hickory tree.
We swim around the pond all day long. We sing our little song all day long. Laughing and splashing with our friends. We swim around the pond all day long.
There were just 3 nuts left underneath the hickory tree. Spotty the turtle buried 2 of them in the mud and placed the 3rd in his mouth and began swimming back across the pond. Just as Peter Rabbit and Reddy Fox, well rested, began running around the pond to the old hickory tree. Billy Mink, keeping an eye on Reddy and Peter, dove in the pond and started swimming across. They were so preoccupied with one another, they paid no attention to Spotty the turtle, who was making his way back to Grandfather Frog. Grandfather Frog says to Spotty,
So go wrong. You're going to win this race.
Spotty the turtle drops the nut at Grandfather Frog's feet. Just as Reddy Fox, Billy Mink, and Peter Rabbit look on in the distance. Grandfather Frog says to Spotty,
Congratulations, Spotty. You won this race.
And so Spotty the turtle was awarded the race and considered the fastest animal in the forest.
Oh, in the woods,
Oh, in the woods,
there was a tree,
there was a tree,
the prettiest little tree
the prettiest little tree
that you ever did see.
that you ever did see.
And
The tree in the hole, and the hole in the ground, and the green grass grows all around, and the green grass grows all around.
and on that tree,
And on that tree,
there was a branch,
there was a branch,
the prettiest little branch
the prettiest little branch
that you ever did see.
that you ever did see.
And
The branch on the tree, and the tree in the hole, and the hole in the ground.
and
The green grass grows all around, and the green grass grows all around.
bum, bum. And on that branch,
And on that branch,
there was a twig,
there was a twig,
the prettiest little twig
the prettiest little twig
that you ever did see.
that you ever did see.
And the twig on
the branch, and the branch on the tree, and the tree in the hole, and the hole in the ground. And the green grass grows all around, and the green grass grows all around. Chris, the twig is upside down.
Oh, is the twig upside down? Thank you. And on that twig,
On that twig,
there was a nest,
there was a nest,
the prettiest little nest
the prettiest little nest
that you ever did see.
that you ever did see.
And
The nest on the twig, and the twig on the branch, and the branch on the tree, and the tree in the hole, and the hole
was an egg.
There was an egg.
The prettiest little egg.
The prettiest little egg.
That you ever did see.
That you ever did see.
And the egg in the nest.
In the nest. On the twig. In the twig. On the branch. In the branch. On the tree. And the tree in the hole. And the hole in the ground. And the green grass grows all around, and the green grass grows all around.
And on that egg,
And on that egg,
there was a bird.
there was a bird.
The prettiest little bird
The prettiest little bird
that you ever did see.
that you ever did see.
And the bird
On
on
the egg, and the egg on the nest, and the nest on the twig, and the twig on the branch, and the branch on the tree, and the tree in the hole, and the hole in the ground.
and
The green grass grows all around, and the green grass grows all around.
and on that bird
And on that bird,
there was an eyelash.
there was an eyelash.
The prettiest little eyelash.
The prettiest little eyelash
It can go either way. That you ever did see.
that you ever did see.
And the eyelash
On the bird, and the bird on the egg, and the egg on the nest, and the nest on the twig,
and the twig on the branch.
and the branch on the tree, and the
Tree in the hole,
and the hole in the ground.
and the green grass.
Goes around.
The green grass grows around. All right, are you ready for the last part?
Yes.
It's a long song. And on that eyelash,
On that eyelash,
there was a bug.
there was a bug.
The not so prettiest little bug
The not so pretty little bug
that you ever did see.
that you ever did see.
All right, take a breath. And
The
the
bug
bug
on the eyelash, the eyelash on the bird, and the bird on the egg, and the egg on the nest, and the nest on the twig, and the twig on the branch, and the branch on the tree, and the tree in the hole, and the hole in the ground.
and
The green grass grows all around, and the green grass grows all around.
the end.
The end.
The end.
The end.
Stand up with your puppets. Stay on your spots. Here's your puppet. And puppet check. And 1, 2. All right, thank you for coming. I'll give you a few minutes to visit with your kids, and then we have to move on for performance number 2. All right, good job, guys.
Maybe that hole you can show